Imagine, imagine we've just spent billions of dollars building the most powerful supercomputer in human history.
Right, like an absolute marvel of engineering.
Exactly. I mean, it can solve complex math, it writes software, analyzes financial markets, you name it.
Sounds perfect so far.
It does, but there's a catch. The entire machine is sealed inside this, like, solid black steel box.
Okay, weird design choice.
Right. There are no screens showing its internal workings. There's literally just a tiny slot where you slide in a piece of paper with a question, and like a minute later, an answer slides out. You have absolutely no idea how it arrived at that conclusion.
You're just totally in the dark.
Completely. You just have to blindly trust whatever is written on that piece of paper.
Which is a terrifying way to operate.
It sounds absurd, but honestly, that is exactly how most of us interact with artificial intelligence today.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
We treat it like this hyper-advanced vending machine. You put in a prompt, and you just wait for the generated text to drop into the tray.
Right, the prompt and response routine.
Exactly. But what if this whole routine is actually blinding us to what this technology is really supposed to be?
I'd argue it definitely is.
Well, welcome to today's deep dive. We're jumping into a fundamentally different way of interacting with AI.
It is a profound structural problem we're facing right now, honestly. Because if your entire relationship with AI is just, consuming a finished product like a generated email or a block of code, you're entirely missing the underlying architecture.
You're just looking at the candy bar, not the factory.
Exactly. You miss how that information was constructed. You miss the logical pathways.
Right.
And when you're dealing with really complex data, missing those pathways means you are essentially flying blind. You're just hoping the machine didn't make a critical error somewhere in the dark.
Which brings us to the centerpiece of today's discussion. We are analyzing a July 2026 article by Maurizio Rizzari.
A really fascinating piece of work.
It really is.
Yeah.
In it, he outlines something called the SYRAG ecosystem. He breaks it down into 3 core components, which we're going to cover today.
Right, the SYRAG Lab, the RnD Dashboard, and the Agent Gateway.
Exactly. So the mission for this deep dive is to explore this massive paradigm shift Rizzari's proposing.
Moving away from the vending machine model.
Yes. Moving away from AI as a single isolated tool that just spits out answers, and toward this comprehensive environment dedicated to research, experimentation, and deep observation.
It's a huge leap.
Okay, let's unpack this. Starting with the very foundation. What exactly is the SYRAG ecosystem reacting against?
Well, to understand what Rizzari is building, we really have to look at modern interface design.
Okay, like how apps are built today.
Yeah, the current trend in tech is all about hiding complexity, right? Developers want to give you this clean, frictionless experience.
Make it as simple as possible.
Exactly. But Rizzari argues that hiding the complexity is a massive mistake when you're doing serious research. And that leads to his first core component, which is the SYRAG Lab.
So how is the lab different from like ChatGPT or something?
Well, it isn't an interface designed to just show you a language model writing a nice clean paragraph. Instead, it uses the language model as an actual analytical instrument. It maps out relationships, it analyzes coherence, and it observes complex behaviors within the data itself.
So you're saying it totally flips the dynamic.
It really does.
We stop asking, what can this model write for me?
Yeah.
And we start asking, how does it actually structure the information?
Precisely. Rizzari notes that the SYRAG Lab turns text into observable data.
Observable data.
Yeah. The emphasis completely shifts away from the final output and puts the focus on the internal dynamics of the system. It really functions as a laboratory for intelligent inquiry.
Let's ground that phrase, though, turning text into observable data, because it sounds, I don't know, highly theoretical.
Sure, let's break it down.
If I'm a researcher using standard AI, I ask it to synthesize 10 medical papers, and it gives me a summary.
Right.
That's my vending machine analogy again. I put in the coin, I get the candy bar. But Rizzari is describing something more like, what, an MRI machine?
That is a highly accurate comparison, actually. Yes, an MRI machine.
But if I'm looking at this AI through an MRI machine, what are the synapses I am actually seeing on the screen? How does text become data?
What's fascinating here is the mechanical transition from just reading to actually observing.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
In a standard setup, you just read the final sentence the AI generated. But in the SYRAG Lab MRI machine, you're looking at a visual representation of the logic.
So I'm not just looking at a paragraph of text.
Right. Instead of a flat paragraph, you might see a node-based graph. You can see the specific vector relationships.
Meaning I see how it got from point A to point B.
Exactly. You see how the AI connected concept A from the first medical paper directly to concept B in the fifth paper. You can even observe the probability weights the model assigned to certain conclusions. So you are physically seeing the structural map of the argument rather than just reading the conclusion at the end.
I mean, I see the value in that for, like, a data scientist. But let me play devil's advocate for a second.
Sure, go for it.
For the average person, or even just a busy professional, isn't the output the whole point? I mean, why should we care how the text is structured as long as the answer is right?
Well, it comes down to trust and complexity.
Okay.
Treating the AI like a vending machine creates this really dangerous dependency on a black box, especially as the tasks you're giving it get more complex.
Give me an example.
If you're asking for a recipe for chocolate chip cookies, yeah, the output is fine. Who cares how it got there?
Right. If the cookies taste good, I'm happy.
Exactly. But if you are using AI to forecast market trends or synthesize complex medical research, you cannot simply trust the final text.
Because it might be wrong.
Because if you don't understand how the model constructed the answer, you can't verify its logical coherence. You won't know if it made a massive analytical leap that just isn't supported by the actual data.
You wouldn't know if the machine hallucinated a connection somewhere in the middle of the process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When we passively consume generated text, we are essentially outsourcing our critical thinking to a machine we can't see inside.
Wow, yeah.
Rizzari's concept of the SYRAG Lab forces a shift there. By exposing the structure and relationships of the data, you stop being a passive consumer and you become an active researcher.
You're actually doing the work.
You're verifying the reaction, you're understanding the variables, confirming the logic. It's really the absolute foundation of critical thinking in a digital age.
Okay, so the SYRAG Lab gives us this incredible MRI machine to look deep inside the logic. We verify the internal dynamics.
Right.
But practically speaking, I feel like that introduces a massive new problem.
Oh, it definitely does.
Because if I am suddenly looking at, probability weights and node graphs and complex logical relationships, instead of just a simple summary, I'm going to be drowning in data.
Oh, yeah. It would be completely unmanageable on its own.
It sounds incredibly messy.
It is. And logically, that leads directly to the second component Rizzari outlines, the SYRAG RnD Dashboard.
Ah. Yeah.
If the lab is your instrument of observation, the dashboard is your infrastructure for organization.
Right. Rizzari describes this dashboard as a space to visualize progress, compare experiments, and organize workflows.
Yes.
He actually makes a point to say it transforms experimentation from something scattered and informal into something intentional and trackable.
And let's look at how informal current AI experimentation is for most people today.
It's pretty chaotic.
It's extremely chaotic. If you were trying to get a specific result out of a language model today, you're likely jumping between, 6 different browser tabs?
Right, I've got tabs everywhere. Tweaking prompts, copying text into a Google Doc.
Exactly. And if you ask a question at 10:00 a.m. and you ask a slightly modified version at 11:00 a.m., you are relying entirely on your own brain to track the difference in how the AI behaved.
It really is just a modern version of a mad scientist in a basement.
That's a great way to put it.
You're just throwing different colored potions into a cauldron waiting to see if it, explodes or turns into gold.
Mm-hmm.
You're experimenting, sure, but you aren't doing actual science.
Right.
So the RnD dashboard sounds more like a rigorous clinical trial.
That is the exact functional difference. The dashboard introduces strict structure.
How does it do that, technically?
Technically speaking, it captures the metadata of your workflow. It logs the exact prompt iteration, the specific parameters you set, and the corresponding outputs.
So it's basically doing real A/B testing for you.
Exactly, allowing for true A/B testing. It means your research becomes a deliberate comparative process rather than just a guessing game.
I understand the necessity of that for serious research, absolutely. But I have to push back on the reality of how the tech industry actually operates.
Let's hear it.
In the tech world, move fast and break things is basically religion. Speed is the ultimate metric.
It is.
And informal tinkering, that mad scientist approach, it feels incredibly fast.
It does feel fast, yes.
So doesn't adding this formal layer of tracking, version control and dashboards, doesn't that actually slow down the creative experimental process?
This raises an important question about the illusion of speed versus actual compounding momentum.
Illusion of speed.
Yeah. You are entirely correct that typing a random prompt and getting a 2-second response feels like high-velocity work.
Right. It feels like I'm getting so much done.
But let's look at the reality of that workflow a week later.
Okay.
Let's say you need to reproduce a highly complex synthesis the AI performed for you last Tuesday.
Oh, I'd have no idea how I got it to do that.
Exactly. If you were just tinkering informally, you have no record of the specific logic path or the exact parameter constraints that produce that success.
You essentially have to start from scratch.
You're starting from zero. Scattered data is ultimately useless data. That makes total sense.
You will find yourself repeating the exact same dead ends and recreating past mistakes because you never structurally mapped the journey.
So the friction up front is worth it.
Definitely. The RnD dashboard might require a momentary pause up front to organize the workflow, but it vastly accelerates long-term discovery.
Because you aren't constantly repeating past mistakes.
Right. Every failure is cataloged. Every success is documented with its underlying metadata. You're building a compounding architecture of knowledge.
So while it challenges the move fast and break things mentality, it protects your creative effort from simply evaporating into the ether.
Exactly. Trading short-term illusion for long-term momentum.
Okay, so we have the SYRAG Lab, our MRI machine, providing deep observation into the AI.
Yep.
We have the R&D Dashboard, our clinical trial framework, organizing that data deliberately. But there's a missing link here, isn't there?
There is a very crucial missing link. Because having a high-tech lab and a brilliant tracking system is useless if they can't actually communicate with each other safely. They're just isolated software modules.
And bridging that gap is where the majority of modular software ecosystems completely fail.
Which brings us to the third critical pillar, Rizzari details. The SYRAG Agent Gateway.
Right.
Rizzari calls the agent gateway often underestimated but essential. He explains its role is to securely and coordinately connect the different modules within the ecosystem.
Turning requests into actions.
Yes. There's actually a sidebar article he wrote specifically about this titled Secure Agent Coordination for Modular Systems.
It's a great piece.
Before we get into the secure coordination part, let's just clarify the terminology for a second. Because we keep throwing around the word agents. What actually is an agent in the context of this ecosystem?
Good question. In this context, an agent is an autonomous, localized piece of AI software designed to execute a specific subtask.
Okay.
For instance, you might have one agent in the SYRAG Lab responsible strictly for analyzing vector data.
And it only does that.
Right. And you might have another agent running the dashboard that specializes in formatting and version control. They're specialized workers.
Got it. So if the agents are the specialized workers, the agent gateway is essentially like the air traffic controller at a highly congested international airport.
That is a very functional way to visualize it, yeah.
But because if I'm a passenger on a plane or a user looking at the dashboard, I never see the air traffic controller. They are completely invisible to my experience.
You don't even think about them.
I just care that my plane lands on time. But without that controller sitting in the tower, coordinating the arrival and departure of dozens of different planes, those aircraft are going to crash into each other on the runway.
The entire airport would be paralyzed in minutes.
Exactly. So my question for you is, if this gateway is the only thing keeping the system from catastrophic failure, why is this layer so underestimated? Are developers just too distracted by flashy AI generation to care about the plumbing?
Honestly, yes. Human nature consistently ignores infrastructure until the moment it fails. So true.
When you visit a major city, you look up and marvel at the architecture of the skyscrapers. You almost never applaud the municipal water lines or the electrical grid.
No one takes a picture of a sewer grate.
Right. Yet, the skyscraper is completely uninhabitable without them.
So the generation of text is the skyscraper. It's the flashy, impressive part.
Yes. Developers and the public alike are deeply mesmerized by the generation. The AI writing code, generating reports, analyzing text.
It's what gets the headlines.
Exactly. But in a highly modular system like SYRAG, where specialized agents are handling incredibly complex data payloads, secure coordination is absolutely mandatory.
How does it actually work in practice, though?
Let's look at the mechanics. If a research agent in the lab needs to send a massive packet of observational data to the dashboard agent, they might operate on totally different logic parameters.
Okay, so they speak different languages, sort of.
Basically. And without the gateway, that data handoff could overwrite critical files, corrupt the tracking history, or execute conflicting commands.
The planes crash on the runway. Precisely. The gateway provides the secure sandboxing and the API translation layer. It authenticates the handoff.
Okay, I see.
It ensures that a request generated in one module is safely and accurately translated into an action in another.
So why is it underestimated then, if it does all that?
It is underestimated because when an air traffic controller does their job perfectly, the system looks completely effortless.
Right. You don't notice it's working.
Exactly. But its ability to transform disparate, complex agents into a singular, manageable system that is the bedrock of the entire ecosystem.
That structural perspective really brings the whole picture into focus. I mean, you can construct the most advanced MRI observation lab in the world, and you can build the most robust tracking dashboard imaginable.
Yep.
But if the cables connecting them aren't routed securely, you can't actually do any science.
You just have a bunch of expensive broken parts.
Exactly. So let's zoom out from the technical specs for a moment. Why is Rizzari going through all this trouble? Why build this incredibly intricate ecosystem of labs, dashboards, and secure gateways instead of just launching another standalone AI text generator like everyone else?
It's a fair question, and this is where we really transition from software engineering into the core ethos of Rizzari's work.
His underlying philosophy.
Yes. He is explicitly focused on creating infrastructure that remains useful over time. He wants a system that survives even as context shifts, as data scales massively, and as the baseline complexity of AI increases.
Right, because he is highly critical of the current tech landscape.
Extremely critical.
He points out that almost everything we interact with is built for short-term efficiency. Like it's just a Band-Aid for today's immediate problem.
Right.
But the SYRAG ecosystem is aiming for durability. It's aiming for structure and the ability to organically evolve and adapt.
There is a sidebar article title that perfectly captures this, actually. SYRAG is not about building more tools. It is about building continuity.
Continuity. I love that. So what does this all mean? I mean, I have to push back on the concept of durability here in modern tech.
Okay, let's hear the pushback.
We're used to software that becomes obsolete in 6 months.
Right. That's the reality we live in, yeah.
How can you possibly build for durability or continuity when the AI landscape literally changes every Tuesday?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the answer lies in a crucial architectural separation. You achieve durability by separating the engine from the environment.
The engine from the environment. Walk me through that.
When a company builds an AI tool for short-term efficiency, they usually just build a thin user interface wrapped around one specific language model.
Right, like a wrapper app.
Exactly. Their entire product relies on that one engine, so the moment a competitor releases a faster, smarter model,
that tool becomes instantly obsolete.
It has zero durability.
Because its entire value is tied to an engine that is now outdated.
Correct. But Rizzari isn't building a tool, he is building an environment and a methodology. The value of the SYRAG Lab doesn't rely on one specific AI model. Its value is the methodology of turning text into observable structural data.
It's the MRI machine itself, not whatever is inside it.
Exactly. The value of the RnD Dashboard is the deliberate framework of logging and comparing variables. The agent gateway provides secure coordination regardless of which new, highly advanced agents you plug into it next year.
Oh, wow. So you aren't trying to build the fastest car on the market. You are building the highway system.
That's a fantastic way to put it.
The cars driving on it will constantly upgrade. They'll get faster, they'll go electric, they'll become autonomous. But no matter how advanced the vehicles get, they still need a structured, deliberate infrastructure to travel on safely.
That is the very essence of continuity.
Yeah.
The underlying language models will inevitably change. The sheer volume of data we process will grow exponentially.
Right.
But an infrastructure deliberately designed to help you observe the logic, structure your experiments, and securely coordinate complex agents, that environment will remain fundamentally useful.
It's a complete reframing of how we consume technology.
It really is.
But it requires something from the human side too, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
It demands that we stop treating these systems like vending machines. We have to stop looking for instant gratification and start engaging in deep, structured inquiry.
It demands a massive shift from passive consumption to active methodology. The technology is providing the laboratory, sure, but we have to be willing to actually step inside and do the research.
And that brings this entire conversation right back to you listening to this.
Yeah, think about your own workflows.
Exactly. Think about how you are managing your own digital life, your projects, your learning. Are you just chasing short-term efficiency with scattered tools?
Are you bouncing between 6 different AI models?
Right. dropping prompts into a black box and just hoping the answers that slide out are correct? Or are you actively building an intentional, structured environment for yourself?
It's a tough question to ask yourself.
It is. Are you pushing to understand the how and the why behind the information you rely on every single day?
That's the real challenge.
Here's where it gets really interesting. If we look at Rizzari's vision, artificial intelligence is rapidly shifting from a simple tool we hold in our hands into a comprehensive, coordinated environment that we work within.
It's becoming a space we inhabit.
Exactly. It completely alters our relationship with the machine. At what point do we stop being just the users of the technology and start becoming the inhabitants of this new digital laboratory?
And more importantly, when you inhabit an environment designed around observation rather than mere output, your fundamental approach to problem solving evolves to match the architecture.
It changes how you think.
It does.
How will living inside an intelligent ecosystem alter the way human curiosity fundamentally works? If we finally abandon the vending machine, walk into the MRI room, and look deeply at the internal logic of the world's most complex systems, what are we actually going to discover?
It's going to be a very different world.
It is a profound question to mull over or explore on your own as you navigate your digital workflows today. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the SYRAG ecosystem. We will see you next time.